Hello friends! Are you considering one of those meal delivery programs where you get to cook a different meal at your house every day? Well, if so, I'm going to present you my honest review of the Everyplate meal system, and this is one of the more popular ones out there. Now, I am not a professional reviewer, I am just a customer of the system, and I haven't tried all the others. Now, this system claims to be the cheapest of the systems that are out there. And from the little research I did, that seems to be accurate. So the standard rate for this one, as they claim, is $5 per serving. So that means, for example, if you're getting meals for 2 people for 3 days a week, which is the least amount you can get per week, that's a total of 6 meals. You would pay $5 for each of those 6 meals, or $30. And then of course shipping, and the shipping for these things is pretty elaborate, so that does cost some. Now, this system claims that it's cheaper than buying groceries. I don't know if that's true, especially with inflation and the way that grocery prices have been skyrocketing every time you go. It's really hard to say, but $5 a meal that's pretty good. I mean, even if you're going out and buying your own ingredients, that's a pretty good level to shoot for. So whether it is exactly cheaper than buying your own groceries or not, that probably depends on you, but it's pretty reasonable. I mean, this is not going to be extraordinarily expensive. So with that in mind, let's look at the actual process from the ordering all the way through the cooking, and we'll tell you what we think, okay? All right. With the help of our trusty assistant and all-around charmer, Gus, here he is, ready to give us a big hand with this. Okay, so let's take a look. Everything works through the website, of course. And so this is what you'll see if you're a member. And you can see it goes by each week's menu. And the menus go a couple of weeks in advance, so you can more than that. But the lowest amount you can have is 3 meals per week, and that is 2 servings in each of those meals. So meaning you're going to get a total of 6 meals. Now, if you want more, you can definitely get more, but you can't get any less than that because sending the box and all that stuff costs a lot, so there has to be a minimum. Now, what happens if I don't want to get a meal on certain weeks or not? Do you have to get it every week? No. Well, as you can see here, you can change or skip your delivery. Now, I've got mine set up to go on every Thursday. But let's say, for example, you're going to be out of town. You go here. You can reschedule it to a different day of the week. Or you can just skip the week entirely. We don't pay and we don't get anything. And that's it. You just click it. You don't have to talk to anybody. You don't have to call anybody or anything like that. Well, like I said, you'll get 3 meals pre-selected, but of course you're probably not going to want the ones that they pre-select. You're going to want to pick your own. So what you do is you go up to the edit meals. But of course I want to look at the whole menu. And the number of menu options you have here is pretty much about the same as you get on any meal plan. And this is one thing, they all make these things available for free. So even if you're not a member, you can go look all this stuff up to see what you would actually be getting with this one or any other. So let's see. We have here a lot of different options. Okay, you can scroll through them, see the different options we have. Okay, we've got about 25 as I count. Now, what about the information you get? Okay, they've all got nice pictures, but what can you find out? Well, they tell you right up front what the calories are on all of these. So this one's 590, this one's 810, right? A little bit of difference. But the great thing about all of these is the complete recipe is available. So you click on it, as I am trying to do here. Okay. You click on it and you're going to get, basically this is what they will send you. Okay, so all the nutrition information. Um, these are the items down here, what you'll need and use that you have to supply yourself. And then there's, of course, there's a, a blurb, but this is what they're going to send. And if you want, you can look, here is the whole recipe here. So basically, this is the exact same information you're going to get when they send the thing to you, so you know exactly what it is that you're picking. Okay, so let's look at the options that we have. You can see what now, some of the items will repeat. This one's a favorite. It's popped up more than once. And then others are very similar. So here we have the Southwest pork flautas, but they have the beef flautas and the chicken flautas and so forth. So a lot of these are very similar meals. I mean, there's a Mediterranean rice bowl, a Southwest rice bowl, an Asian rice bowl, and so forth. So there's a lot of similarities between them. This, I think, is a good thing because really, to cook anything well, you have to do it several times, I think, to do a recipe more than once. And so this way, you're getting to repeat a lot of the same kind of cooking steps. You may be getting to try a lot of different variations on, say, the flautas and pick the one you like. So I think it's a good thing that we get some sort of repetition. But you can see, I mean, these are pretty typical of what we'll get. Some sort of pasta dish, a chicken dish, a number of bowls, wraps. There's usually always a flatbread. Type of soup is also fairly common as well. Some type of sandwich. And this one's pretty good here. As we see, the pork sloppy joes is another favorite. Okay, so what you're seeing here are pretty standard choices, and there's quite a variety. So there are some premium meals. Like we said, the standard is $4.99 per serving, which is very good. But there are also premium. Anything with steak in it, anything with seafood is going to be an extra $5 a serving. And the family style, these are big, larger meals. Okay. If you don't want pork, you can switch, say here, to ground beef. It costs an extra dollar. And here is our box delivered right to our door. The first thing we have, of course, is our menus. 3 of them, because that's what we ordered for this week. The first thing you'll see is this nice tray in which all of our ingredients, except the meat, are all located on. So you've got your produce, of course. We've got some carrots, a very large pepper. We've got our potatoes. Okay, we've got our pasta, our rice. And just to note, I noticed all the, at least Italian ingredients, they come from Italy, from this company, which I'm not that familiar with. Okay. All right, so we get all of this. That's all fresh, okay, that we're going to use. Now, the meats will come below that. Here are our meats. In this case, we've got 3 meals, so we got 3 meats. So you can see we've got some ground beef, some Italian sausage, and some chicken breast. Now, of course, you notice these aren't very large. Okay, so the amount of meat in these are not that much, but that's one of the reasons why the calories are fairly low. And all of this sits on at least one of these things. This is the ice pack and it is quite heavy, quite big. Sometimes there'll be two of them with the meat in between. And this thing, even after it gets delivered, is pretty solidly cold, and so that keeps your meats cold. Now, my box typically gets delivered between 1 and 2 in the afternoon, and so that's a good time because most people are probably going to be picking this thing up, when you get back from work. So if you're getting back from work at like 5 o'clock, you will find your box, and so this thing should still be cold enough to, keep it reasonably cold. Now, I'm told that one of the reasons that this particular service is so affordable is because of the packaging, the way they do the packaging. So that's just part of it. These things are useful if you got a big cooler. You could put these in your freezer and use them. They do say to open it up and recycle it. Don't do that. This thing is full of a gel. It's like the ice packs you get to put on injuries, and so the stuff is a real mess. You can just toss it out if you're not going to use it. Okay, so these are all of our ingredients, and notice they package everything together, so we get all 3 meals packaged together. That's why we have to look at the recipe to see which elements we're supposed to use for each meal. They're not separate. Okay, so if, for example, if you have 2 meals that use carrots, you're just going to get a bunch of carrots. Okay, so that's what you receive. Now, what do we do with it? The tray goes right into the refrigerator, and it's there, and we pull it out when we're ready to use it. Let's look for a moment at the recipes. Now, they come on nice cards, so it's good to keep. But also the entire recipe, everything you see here is also available online. So when you're picking the recipes, you can check all this out if you want to beforehand to see how hard it will be to cook and things like this, what ingredients you need to have beforehand. So when the box shows up, you can go right into it. But basically, we get a nice picture. Okay, and this tells you what they are sending, which is important because we got that whole tray full of stuff that's got all your meals for the week. So we need to know, for example, and just so you know, they're going to give you the calories, the prep time, okay, and like, any recipe anywhere, these prep times are ridiculously unrealistic. As it says here, ready in 35 minutes. Can you do this in 35 minutes? I mean, maybe if you had everything ready to go and you worked really fast. All of these meals take me an hour to make. You can cut some time off if you prepare things in advance, but I mean, this is they are greatly understating how long they take. And then we flip over and you get your detailed instructions on exactly what to do. You get your picture and you get pretty clear instructions of what you're supposed to do. Now, they do use a lot of vague terms like a drizzle, a pinch, a large pinch. One final feature, now I've never had to use this, but they have a live chat and phone line. So supposedly if you have issues about the recipe, like, hey, what do you mean by this? You can get advice. Okay, great. Now, are the recipes hard? Most of them are pretty easy. They tend to be on the less elaborate side. Some of the other meal services, which cost a lot more, have more elaborate and fancy recipes, but you can see from the selection we have, I mean, they're This is not just, hot dogs and beans. So the recipes are not generally that difficult, and there's a lot of repetition from one to another. So like I said, you're going to start off pretty much every recipe by chopping garlic and chopping onions. A lot of recipes call for you to zest a lemon or a lime, so you end up using a lot of the same skills over and over again. Now, this is one area where you can save some time with these. As I said, it takes about an hour to do these recipes, and you may say, well, that sounds like a lot of time. Well, you can cut off some of the time by using some prepared ingredients. Like instead of chopping garlic for every single recipe, you can buy minced garlic, you can buy chopped onions, and that will save you a lot of time. Also, another thing about these recipes is much of the preparation, some of the most time consuming stuff for all of them involves making like a dipping sauce or an aioli or something like that that takes a lot of time. You could substitute that with something that's already prepared, and that would save you a lot of time. But let's get to the actual recipe. Now, one thing to consider, they're going to send you all the items you need, which is good when you're first starting, but you end up using a lot of the same things over and over again. So like garlic, they're going to send you a bulb of garlic, every week. And of course, there's like 10 or more cloves in this garlic, and so you end up accumulating a lot of it. Trust me, by this time I've got enough garlic and onions in the refrigerator that I could open a farmer's market. So that's one thing that's a little bit inefficient. If you were doing this yourself, you wouldn't end up with so much of the same things over and over again. All right, and this is what we get. Honey roasted carrots, sour cream and garlic mashed potatoes, and the buffalo chicken. And we can compare it to the picture to see how it came out. Pretty close, but how's it taste? All right, and let's taste it. Pretty good. Everything came out pretty well. So we followed the instructions exactly. It's $5 a meal. Took about an hour, a little more to prepare. And so that's what you get. Okay, so what do we think of the Everyplate meal system? Well, like we said, it's relatively inexpensive, about $5 a meal, so that's pretty good. And you get a good variety of choices that you can make, so that's also pretty good. And it will provide you with a lot of fresh ingredients, and so if that's important, that's another positive. Additionally, you get to learn some cooking skills, and it can help you develop those. Now, of course, as we said, it's not a quick thing to do, and none of these meal systems really are. No matter what they claim, it's going to take about an hour or so to make each meal, and so that's sort of the downside. So, if this is something you're looking for to sort of help you save time, then this is not the way you want to go. But if you want to explore cooking, you want to try some different recipes and get to have some fresh ingredients, then this will work for you. So that is our honest review of the Everyplate meal system. Tune in next time and we'll have an honest review of the 30 Years' War. See you then.